Hey, thanks for watching our short form content in which we release clips from the Into the Build series. If you missed that last series, don't worry. You actually saved your ears on some bad audio, but you did miss out on a fun process. Don't worry though, we've got you covered in this episode of the Into the Build, the InfamusDubz project. Our goal in this project was actually to rebuild the mask from the print stage using different materials. Quick shout out to Marco from Mystery Makers. He uses amazing 3D design skills to bring our blueprints to life. The first time we did this mask, it was made of PLA on a Prusa MK3 before self-leveling, so I was definitely excited to see it done on different material and on a different printer. The two main parts of the mask we printed were the main body designed to fit slim on the face with respected holes in the gums for all the transparent resin teeth. Even with raw resin prints, they still have those micro lines, and those lines, well, they can mess up a paint job and even run a solid finish. So no matter what, we don't get to escape the dreaded sanding, but we definitely get to ease the process. Resin prints are very wet sand friendly. The best part about wet sanding is it doesn't throw dust in the air and it helps move particles out of the pores. Pro tip: when wet sanding, add a drop of Dawn Dish soap to the water. This keeps the paper from clogging and makes everything glide just a little bit better. One modification we did on this mask was removing the back piece behind the teeth. I decided I wanted to open this one up. It made breathing through the mask a lot more comfortable, and I guess it's nice not to be able to smell your own breath. Once the cut was made, I did some final sanding around those edges using multiple files. Resin prints sand quick, and using a Dremel in those tight spots can be a little nerve-wracking. I refined all detail areas with smaller sanding tools and sandpaper, especially around the gums, jawline, and teeth sockets. I needed to make some negative space for the straps to go through. With resin prints that are thin, drilling with a big bit initially has a chance to fracture those parts. We used a smaller bit to make the initial hole, then grabbed those small files again and filed our way right through. Finally, it was time to wipe things down. What was done before was a nice little bubble bath with Dawn Dish soap. This allowed grease and clogged surfaces to get clean, and then we actually backed it up with a surface prep degreaser that you can find at your automotive store. The mask enters the paint booth and we start to apply the first base coat. Now with this mask and the size, there's no need to get complicated and bust out the spray gun. A rattle can will do just fine. I actually prefer duplicate color of rattle can of choice. When using this method, thin layers are key. If you let the flash cure and take a tack cloth to it, it will grab most of that orange peel right off, and then you can go back and hit it with another coat. You do this 3 times and let it dry, then you'll have a decent base coat. So far with the teeth, the only thing that we've done is wet sand each tooth. With just the sanding, they have a nice frosty coat made from micro scratches from the 800 grit sandpaper. The only issue though, is if you look closely, you can see the swirl scratches instead of a clean frost. With this in mind, we glue all 48 pieces. Now, I thought this was actually going to be easy, in which it sort of was with that back piece gone, but still aligning them correctly was a little bit aggravating due to just the wiggle when trying to hold it in place while it cures with super glue. I did use a super glue activator, which helps a lot. A mist can dry super glue super fast, easing the aggravating process of waiting. We placed the mask back in the booth for the most exciting part of the process, applying the heavy gloss. I decided to run the clear coat through an airbrush this time. The micro needle allows light coats to sweep evenly through the gums and teeth compared to using a full-size spray gun. Now this was definitely before we acquired the Iwata LPH50s. If you know, you know. After applying these coats and hoping that no dust lands on it, we let them cure until it's completely dry. Now I say completely dry because us prop makers love to touch shiny objects just before they're about to cure. I then taped the surface. We wanted to retain gloss using blue vinyl tape on the hard to reach spots and painter's tape on the large areas. We left the teeth exposed to frost them up. This will soften the lights when the lights turn on. I sprayed the teeth using Mr. Super Clear Matte. This stuff sprays very nice. Even with some overspray, it can be very forgiving and clear evenly. If you spray too much, you can wipe orange peel with a microfiber cloth and still retain its matte finish. Now with the LEDs, this was the setup. We wanted the LEDs to flow from the back and bring it to the front, and then back if needed. This was done using 4 strips in which we wired respective solder joints to the solder pads and soldered both strips together on each side, and then we ran it to the controller. We used a 3D pin to cover up all LEDs in plastic to make sure that moisture doesn't collect and any corrosion is not caused. The 3D pin isn't bad. It's a great tool for covering something in plastic that needs to be sealed on the fly. It does take some time though to fill and seal, but overall it's not a bad tool to utilize. We added some half-pipe EVA foam to the surface. This allows the mask to fit comfortably on the skin and added a little space to the nose to escape. Even with the LEDs off, the gloss shines very nice, and the teeth offer a great contrast from the main body. We finally hooked up the power utilizing the USB power bank with the power jack to USB connection. Once turned on, the teeth instantly filled the light. The frosted teeth allowed the light to disperse evenly throughout. You can see how LEDs move from the back of the Grin and arrive at the front. Utilizing different patterns allows different moods to be emulated. While bringing this concept to life, it was fun to test out our new material and build an overall higher quality mask. Thanks for sticking with us through the full Into the Build series, the InfamusDubz Mask. If you learned something, you felt inspired, or just enjoyed the process, consider subscribing and sharing with your fellow makers, your artists, and performers. So until next time, keep building, keep creating, and we'll see you on the next one.